The legend of Elizabeth Bathory, known as the Blood Countess, unfolds in the shadowy corridors of her castle nestled in the Carpathian Mountains. Born in 1560 into a noble family of significant influence, Elizabeth's life was steeped in privilege and power. However, beneath the veneer of aristocratic respectability, a dark and chilling story took shape, one that would secure her place in history as one of the most notorious figures of the medieval world. Elizabeth Bathory was married at the tender age of 15 to Ferenc Nadasti, a soldier known for his brutality on the battlefield. While Ferenc was often away fighting the Ottoman Turks, Elizabeth managed their estates with an iron fist. The young countess was known for her intelligence and beauty, but it was her cruelty that would become legendary. Servants and peasants spoke in hushed tones about the mysterious disappearances of young girls in the vicinity of the castle. The legend of Elizabeth Bathory's sadistic tendencies began to take shape with the accounts of her violent temper and delight in torturing her servants. Initially, her victims were peasant girls lured to the castle with promises of well-paying jobs. However, as her bloodlust grew, she began targeting daughters of the lesser nobility, sending shockwaves through the region. The nature of the atrocities she committed is both horrifying and macabre. Bathory is said to have used a myriad of torturous devices and methods to inflict pain upon her victims. The most infamous aspect of her legend is the claim that she bathed in the blood of virgins, believing it would preserve her youth and beauty. Eyewitness testimonies and later confessions from her accomplices provide a grim catalogue of her crimes. Victims were beaten, burned, mutilated, and left to die in agony. Some were even forced to eat their own flesh. These gruesome acts were often performed in a specially designed torture chamber within the castle, a dark testament to her sadistic nature. Her reign of terror continued unchecked for years, largely due to her noble status and the influence of her family. It wasn't until 1610, when reports of her crimes reached the Hungarian King Matthias II, that a formal investigation was launched. By this time, rumors of her horrific deeds had spread far and wide. A team led by Georgi Thurzo, the Palatine of Hungary, raided the castle and discovered a scene of utter horror. Dead and dying girls were found within the walls, and evidence of brutal torture was everywhere. Elizabeth Bathory was arrested along with several of her accomplices, who would later testify against her. The trial that followed was a sensational affair, with lurid details of Bathory's crimes emerging in the testimonies of her servants and surviving victims. Although she never appeared in court herself, her accomplices were found guilty and executed. Elizabeth Bathory, due to her noble birth, escaped the death penalty but was sentenced to life imprisonment. She was confined to a small set of rooms in her own castle, where she lived out the remaining years of her life in isolation, dying in 1614. The legacy of Elizabeth Bathory is a blend of historical fact and myth, with some modern historians suggesting that the accounts of her crimes may have been exaggerated or fabricated by political enemies seeking to discredit her family. Nonetheless, the image of the Blood Countess, a woman driven by a twisted desire for eternal youth, bathing in the blood of virgins, endures as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind the facade of nobility. Her story continues to captivate and horrify, a grim chapter in the annals of history, immortalized by the many tales and legends that have sprung up around her infamous name.